What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams with the distance once again. This time I'm going to talk about Paulie Malignaggi possibly fighting Manny Pacquiao. Overall, I don't think this is a bad matchup. Paulie Malignaggi is a good boxer, very slick style. They just come off a good victory against Juan Diaz, but at the same time, we have seen Paulie Malignaggi not do so well against top quality opposition like Miguel Cotto and Ricky Hatton. And there have been fights like Lovermore, Indu, or Herman and Gojo, I believe his name was, that he didn't look so well against. And I believe one of his recent fights, against opposition that wasn't too well, he did get a split decision against. But see, Paulie Malignaggi is a one-handed fighter pretty much. He kind of wings the right hand when he throws it. And if he throws hard with that right hand, it breaks. So many screws and plates in that hand that he just can't have a top fight. I mean, he can't really, hurt Manny Pacquiao or anything. So really, in a way, this isn't really a challenge for Manny Pacquiao, because Malignaggi is an outside fighter. He's very fast and slick, good head movement and stuff. But at the same time, Manny Pacquiao is just as fast, has power in both hands, and he can move around the ring the same way that Paulie Malignaggi can as well. So if you ask me, this is kind of a mismatch in a way, because Malignaggi, I do think he could beat A-level opposition, but at the same time, Malignaggi, I guess with a lot of A-level opposition, I think he'll have trouble probably making them respect him. I think Malignaggi is pretty much outside. He's just an outside guy that sometimes likes to mix it up on the inside to do whatever he can. But Malignaggi versus Manny Pacquiao, I don't think that this is a pay-per-view fight by any means at all. I really do not think this is a pay-per-view fight. I really don't think this is a big fight either way. Even though sometimes when you have the number one fighter in the world against some people, sometimes it's just not a pay-per-view attraction or anything. And I do think this fight would be on pay-per-view if it happens. But there are times that you have the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, and they just fight people, and it's just a normal, simple fight. And I think if this fight happens, and it's just one of those fights, it's just a regular fight. Like if you think about it, it was Shane Mosley after he defeated De La Hoya. He had like three or four fights against lesser quality opposition. When Roy Jones was the number one pound for pound fighter in the world, he wasn't the pay-per-view attraction that Manny Pacquiao is right now. And it's very evident today because he wasn't able to do any pay-per-view numbers against Joe Calzaghe. And Roy Jones represents a big name in boxing, and his pay-per-views have never attracted a big following. And you could even go as far back as with James Toney. James Toney just had normal fights. Weren't on pay-per-view. A lot of his fights weren't even on pay-per-view. They were just on regular boxing. This is back when he was the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. Same with Pernell Whitaker. A lot of these men just had regular fights. Fights that just aired, on television. And I do think this is a good fight for Pacquiao, but at the same time, it's kind of a mismatch. I think it's a good fight for Pacquiao because of the style involved. Paulie Malignaggi is very slick style, very good on his feet, fast on his toes. So overall, this is a really good fight for him. But at the same time, it does seem like a mismatch because of the lack of power. The lack of power kind of makes it a mismatch, but the boxing ability makes it a good matchup. The boxing ability, the skill, the technique of Malignaggi. But overall, Paulie Malignaggi did say some stuff about Manny Pacquiao using steroids, and what's funny is it actually made headlines. It is actually on Yahoo.com right now, front page, front and center. So that could be good for Malignaggi. This could do very well in Paulie Malignaggi's favor, because he was even. It's funny because he was looking towards Marquez or a Hatton rematch, and now Manny Pacquiao. This could be the shining moment of Malignaggi's career. A lot of people talk about Malignaggi's mouth and how he runs his mouth and stuff like that, but overall, it did something for him apparently. And Malignaggi is a real student of the game. Very, very sound about boxing. Knows what he's talking about with boxing. Likes, I think he's one of those guys that just likes boxing. Is very knowledgeable of the sport overall, and I think this is the type of opponent Manny Pacquiao kind of needs in a way. Somebody that knows the sport all around. And does Malignaggi deserve this fight? Not really, because if you think about it, Malignaggi lost to two guys that Pacquiao defeated, Miguel Cotto and Ricky Hatton. He did lose to both of those guys, but at the same time, styles do make fights. And on top of that, this is a different style. This is a very tough fight. He did walk through hell and high water against Miguel Cotto and Ricky Hatton. I'm really not sure about that fight. I don't know if his head was into the fight or not, but overall, it is kind of a mismatch. But I do think there's other opponents out there for Manny Pacquiao. I really do think there's other opponents out there for him. There is Luis Collazo, who's a good boxer. There is, I'm trying to think of his name, like Sikolk Aiden or something like that. It's something like that. And then there's the new IBF champion. He's a very tough fighter. Joshua Clottey, tough, rugged fighter. You have guys like that. But Malignaggi overall is a good fight, if you ask me. Very good fight. But at the same time, this is another fight where Malignaggi is on the main stage, and we haven't seen Malignaggi do well on that main stage. So we'll see what happens with this fight. Do I want the fight to happen? Not really. I'm a bit disappointed because I would rather see Pacquiao Mayweather, but Pacquiao Malignaggi is a decent matchup. It's a very decent matchup. That's all I can say about that matchup is decent. And we'll see. I'm a fan of both guys, but at the same time, like I said and alluded to before, it's a mismatch because this time Pacquiao is taking on a one-handed fighter. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Thanks for watching. Peace.